Hey everybody, it's Stephen and Kay from Asian Boss. And this is not a clickbait. We really need your blood. Let us explain.
If you're familiar with what we stand for here at Asian Boss, we're dedicated to building cultural bridges through real people's voices, which is why you see us doing all these street interviews from Asia all these years.
But because our mission has always been to make the biggest social impact possible, today we're stepping away from our usual format and want to talk about something, or rather someone, incredibly important. Meet Sophia.
You see, Sophia is half Japanese and half Canadian, and right now, she's in a critical fight against leukemia. She's only 5 months old.
Instead of telling you more ourselves, we thought it'd be best to let Sophia's parents speak to you directly. They've never done anything like this before, like speaking in front of the camera to the whole world. So we hope you guys can give them your full attention. Here they are. Hey guys, Rui and Jeremy, right?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for taking the time to jump on this call. Where are you guys calling from right now?
Oh, we're calling from Canada.
Alberta,
Right.
Canada.
Why did you actually decide to reach out to Asian Boss?
We have a daughter, 5-month-old, named Sophia. She is currently battling a rare type of infant leukemia called acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
She was diagnosed about a month ago. She's been in hospital since receiving chemotherapy. We decided to reach out because we felt that the Asian Boss community would include people who might be like Sophie, who are of mixed ethnicity. And I think we were finding ourselves in a position where we didn't feel like we had any control over anything in this situation. And it felt like this was something that we could actually do to try and make a difference.
When you're up at 2 a.m., kind of going down the spiral of thinking about whether your own child is going to have their own dream and be a normal child, I just couldn't sit around and not do anything.
When you say Sophia has leukemia, how severe is her condition right now?
Right now, she is receiving chemotherapy to help induce remission, to hopefully remove those cancer cells from her body. However, if she was not receiving treatment, her body would essentially start to shut down. With the type of leukemia that she has, she will most likely need a bone marrow transplant in order to get to a complete remission.
You said it's quite rare, but how rare is this?
That's a good question. We also asked one of our doctors the same question, and because infant leukemia itself is so rare that they don't actually have a centralized statistics on it. All I can say is it's rare. Yeah, and it's been shocking to say the least. We initially found a tiny red spot on her eye that led us to a doctor's visit, to a blood test, and then now we are here. I mean, initially when we came into the emergency here at this hospital, we thought that she might be getting, I don't know, like IV fluid at most, and then be sent home the same day. And then being told that she has blood cancer is really life-changing in the worst way possible.
So how are you guys doing right now? Are you guys holding up okay?
Start our day with good morning. It's a new day. We're one day closer to saying bye-bye to cancer, and that's how we have been looking at this.
Yeah.
The other alternative of not being hopeful means ultimate death for her. And that thought itself is so hard to hang on to get by every day. And so I think in a way we can only be hopeful to get by and be there for her, be there for each other. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and people say it gets easier every day, and the reality is it doesn't. We just learn to manage our emotions, and we're not breaking down every time we see other children. The situation is dire and it doesn't change that. But yeah, the other alternative is too grim to think about on a day-to-day basis. And so we can only be hopeful.
You mentioned something about bone marrow transplant. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? So for example, what would be sort of the implication of Sophia not receiving bone marrow transplant, and like, because people, they actually don't know that much about the whole process or procedure.
Right.
What exactly is it?
So obviously prefacing this with, we're not experts. We are 1 month into learning about this ourselves. But if she did not receive a bone marrow transplant, and continued with chemotherapy, and maybe she got into remission, and the cancer was gone for a little while. If she relapsed, so the cancer came back, the relapses in the future for this kind of cancer make it very, very difficult to continue treating, and really just increases the risk of her not being able to fight it.
There is
Right.
no cure to this type of leukemia. So I think the end goal is complete remission and hope that there's no relapse. And like Jeremy said, once the cancer comes back, it comes back stronger. And the cancer cells have can withstand future chemo and other medications, treatments. The bone marrow transplant is going to put her in a better spot and have a chance to fight leukemia off. So
Is it based on the DNA match? In which case, like, are you guys able to, do any kind of procedures yourself?
yes, there is a more recent technology to allow us to potentially be her bone marrow donors, but we'll only be 50% match because obviously we're the parents of hers. And so there's a high risk of side effects post bone marrow transplant because her body can reject the bone marrow that she gets from us, or our bone marrow has a potential of attacking her body. So traditionally speaking, that's the first route, is to try and find 100% non-related bone marrow donor.
So from what you guys were told, what are the chances of finding the right donor for Sophia at the moment?
A lot of it is based off of ethnicity. Obviously, Sophia is half white, half Japanese. So that means that's a pretty low pool of people already. But for reference, in Canada, where we are, which is considered an ethnically diverse country, in the Canadian blood registry, 3% of registered donors are of mixed ethnicity.
Wow, that's really low. If the pool is 3%, and you have to try to find the right match within that 3%, which is, I'm assuming, very low, right?
I'd say it's about 15% at best, but that's
Right.
just mixed ethnicity group in general. It doesn't necessarily mean half Asian, half white individuals. So
What's sort of the time frame right now that we have to get Sophia something?
because the type of leukemia that she has is very aggressive. We're talking months. And there is always that urgency because her cancer, even though she can achieve remission during her treatment, it always has a risk of coming back if she doesn't get a bone marrow transplant.
For our audience that are listening to this, what can they do? Where do they have to go? Like, what's the first step for people?
Yeah, so the first step for people is to find out where you would be going locally to donate blood, register yourself as a bone marrow donor. And then, unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to say, I want to help Sophia, please donate my bone marrow to her, but you would be added into that pool, which our doctors would have access to.
And just to give you context, there's about 1,000 patients in Canada alone who are waiting for a bone marrow donor match. Your bone marrow might not necessarily help Sophia, but there is a chance that it can help somebody else.
You're saying that there's some sort of a universal system, a registry on a global scale where that people could even donate blood, let's say from Korea, Japan, Australia,
that's correct.
and then the Canadian authorities, they would just have access to that type of database.
They'd have access to that data. Yeah, that's correct.
Actually, our co-founder Kay, he's obviously half Japanese, half German, so he said he would be happy to donate blood and see what happens. And we also have other members of the team, like Marie, who's also like half German, half Filipino. I wish I could donate blood myself, except I'm just like 100% Korean. So
Asian population is one of the populations that have lower chances of finding a bone marrow match. And so even if you are 100% match, there might very well be someone who is full Asian who can be your match.
And then let's say, you're very fortunate enough to find a match, then what would happen next?
You'll get a contact from wherever you registered to donate your bone marrow. And they will say, hey, there is somebody who is in need of your bone marrow, and you are a match. Would you still be interested in donating your bone marrow? And if your answer is yes, they'll take you to next steps to donate your bone marrow. And it's like Jeremy said, it's as simple as donating your blood. You can do it locally and we'd still have an access to your bone marrow. Let's say,
Really? Okay.
you can be in Japan and we'll still have an access to your bone marrow from Canada. So
for anyone who has maybe registered to donate their bone marrow in the past, one of the things that is a real risk is if they go out and they find a match, and the next thing that happens is they go out and the team reaches out to whoever has been reached out to as a match. Maybe they're not able to anymore. Something's happened. Maybe they've passed away. They've moved. Their contact information is up to date, and they can't contact this person.
Right.
That match is no longer relevant.
So even if you were able to find a match, there's a risk, the very, very real risk that they're just not contactable.
yeah.
So if you have already registered, make sure your stuff is up to date.
So I also understand that right now you guys have like a GoFundMe page open, like some sort of a crowdfunding campaign. Maybe can you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Actually, a friend of ours did set one up for us. We do have a GoFundMe page. People want to help out. If there's any unexpected expenses, maybe we need some accessible clothing for her because she has a central venous access device. So there's lines that go into her heart directly so that they can give her medications without having to constantly put an IV in her. So just having some clothes that fit a little nicer and accommodate that can help. Anything that we don't use from that GoFundMe, we're going to be donating to the Children's Oncology Group, which is based in the cancer research group for children's cancer based in North America.
What kind of message would you have for our audience as well as whoever's just, watching this video or listening to this? Like, what are you hoping to sort of get out of this?
When I heard from the doctors that she might need a bone marrow transplant and that was going to be part of her treatment, we were initially given the odds of 2/3 of her making it for 5 years. 2/3 seem big, but at the same time, you want the survival of your child to be at 100% or close to 100% as possible. And so I guess you could imagine, the devastation that we had when we learned that she has about 15% chance of finding a bone marrow match. I, as a mom, don't want another mom to have that sort of moment of realization that your child might not make it for 5 years or even a year. We don't know for her. Even if this doesn't end up necessarily affecting Sophie's prognosis, if this ends up saving another mom's baby, then I think it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my reasoning is similar. And it's not just leukemia either, right? Like it's bone marrow can solve so many other problems for people. So I think just increasing the chances that someone can have their lives saved because someone decided that they would go and register to donate their bone marrow would be amazing. Even if it's not Sophie.
Hearing those odds really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
If any of you watching are of mixed heritage too, we urge you to consider donating. Let's spread the word and make a difference.
And here's our promise. If Sophia finds a match in time and we can confirm the identity of the donor, we'll fly the donor out to Canada to document the entire journey. You'll see firsthand the impact you can have as a member of this incredible community. We've also linked Sophia's GoFundMe page in the description. Any funds raised will be donated to help save more lives like Sophia's.
As a dad of a little girl, my heart goes out to Sophia's parents, Jeremy and Louis, and want to thank them for trusting us to share their message.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're still not big enough as a platform to make the kind of impact that we really want to make. But I'm really grateful that we can still do something to help raise awareness on this issue. Look, there's a lot of negativity in this world right now, but it's times like these that we can put aside our differences and come together. A little baby like Sophia deserves every chance to fight and survive.
So let's unite and try to save Sophia. Remember, every small action counts. Thank you all for watching and for your incredible support. We appreciate you all so much. As always, stay curious.